In this video, I will tell you how to use blog forms to collect contacts of your users and leads, and I will also show you all possible kinds of messages your bot can send. Let's start with forms. Blog forms is created so that you could collect data of your users and send them as messages to your email or to any integration with CRM you have, or to your website, or to your show through Zapier. Let me create a form. To create a form, I need to press plus following the answer or the intent and to choose form. A new form is created. When you create a form, you have 4 different types of questions your bot can ask. Let me create 4 questions here. On the left side, you need to fill in all these rows with questions your bot will ask users. You can assign 4 different types of questions to the questions you will type in. Let me show you. For example, it can be a question related to text, it can be an email, it can be a phone, and it can be a type of a product. For example, I use the text question and I type a question here, what is your name? Then I also need to specify the name of the variable that will be assigned to the answer your user will give to this question. Here you need to choose from the list. It is evident that for my question I need to choose full name. My next question will be about user's email. That's by here I assign the email type of the question to this row. I also want to ask user about his phone. And the last thing I want to ask user, I want to ask him to choose a product type. For example, for the case when a user orders pizza, I can suggest him 4 different types of pizza to choose. All these questions, except the text question, will check the validity so that the answer on the user satisfies these conditions. In this case, if you ask user about his phone number and you choose the phone number as the type of the question, this means that our system will check if the user really fills in the phone number as an answer to this question. The same works for the email and type of the product. The user could not send you something else instead of his or her email, phone, or type of the product he wants to choose when you choose these types of questions for your rows. Please don't forget to add a final message at the end of your form to inform a user that he did everything right and his requests were submitted successfully. You can also add an integration to your form. An integration with email is available by default to all users. An integration with company's email means that after your user completes the form, a message with the user's request will be sent to company's email, or to any email you want if you type in email you want here. On the left side, you need to fill in the message here using the variables from the left side. The variables from the left side come from the questions that you ask user here. Please pay attention that these variables can be used only for this message to integrate your form with an email. Exactly this message will be sent to an email you will type in here or to your company's email after your user completes the form. If you don't want to send users data from a form to an email, but you want to send them to Zapier, for example, then you need to create one more block answer after the form. So I choose without integration here, save my form, and now I create a new block answer here. If I want to add an integration with Zapier, I use function here and then Zapier. When this block answer works out, then all the data from the user's form will be sent to Zapier directly. Your bot can send text messages, images, and files in general. If you add a function to an answer, then you can switch your user to an operator, you can divide your users into segments, or you can add an integration with Zapier. We will talk about these functions in our next videos. Also, you can add a button to your answer. Now, let's consider buttons in greater details. For example, now you can add two types of buttons, a text button and a link. If you add a text button, this means that pressing on the button in the bot window, a user will send a text answer. It can be very convenient if you want to lead your user to a very precise intent as the next step of the dialogue. To do this, you need to type here exactly that phrase that also exists in the intent you want to forward your user to. You can also add any link to a button. For example, you can add a link that will lead your user to a payment page if your user proceeded to this step. For example, to do this, I can type the address here and the name of the link here. That's all. In our next videos, we will talk about segmentation and distribution of users into different groups.